Oh,
Gavin Newsom.
Wait.
Oh my God. As California buckles under the weight of surging homelessness, rampant crime, wildfire devastation, Gavin has all but declared that he is in it to win it in 2028, and he is openly signaling that he will do whatever it takes, including cheating and changing the Constitution. Take it. I can't even wrap my head around it. Take a look for yourself.
And I think there should be a national framework for independent redistricting, period, full stop. I mean, gerrymandering, and let's be fair, we've seen this weaponized by both parties for decades, but these guys, this is a whole nother level of weaponization coming from the right. And what Trump did today is the ultimate tell. They feel they're on the ropes. They feel they're behind. They feel they're vulnerable with the big, beautiful bill. They feel like the momentum is shifting away from them, and it's Speaker Jeffries, it's not Speaker Johnson. So on that basis, they got to rig the game. You got to change the game because you can't win by the existing rules. So he goes in and talks to these guys that should be focused on flood preparedness, should be focused on restoring NOAA and the weather investments that they need to make, and the resiliency efforts to talk about getting FEMA back on track, and how little accountability with Kristi Noem and some of those early decisions that were made or not made. Instead, they're using that special session to weaponize for the next election, and that should scare the hell out of everybody, because these guys are playing by a different set of rules. And so from my perspective, if we're going to play fair in a world that is wholly unfair, we may have the higher moral ground, but the ground is shifting from underneath us. And I think we have to wake up to that reality. And I'm talking to members of my legislature, whatever our alternatives. We can do a special session. I can call for one today if I chose to. We can then put something on the ballot, and I could call a special election. We can change the Constitution with the consent of the voters, and I think we would win that. I think people understand what's at stake in California. I think we'd come out in record numbers. I think it would be extraordinary success. That's a clean way of doing it. It'd be a very short window, because you got to come back with the maps, and you got to change all this and prepare for the ballots that are around the corner next year. Or you can look at other avenues, which we are exploring, which are pathways with the legislature to do urgency clauses with 2/3 of the legislature in both of our houses, to move forward with legislative redistricting in between the constitutional construct, which is every census, the Independent Redistricting Commission does a new map, but it's silent about what happens in between. So it's a novel legal question, and it's being explored.
Okay, let me dispel the notion that changing the Constitution is just like some easy thing you can do. You need like 2/3 of state, 2/3 of
state constitution.
Oh, the state.
Yeah.
But like, I don't understand.
I couldn't follow it at all. That's why I sent it to Lindy. I was like, I cannot follow this at all. But it seems like he's going to do anything and everything.
Fill in the blanks.
What does this mean?
I got to start with saying that Gavin Newsom is only about Gavin Newsom.
Yes,
and everything that he's doing right now is to position himself as a front runner for the Democrats.
California's in
He's a slimy
disrepair.
Exactly. And
Not
if you open the
freaking house has been rebuilt. Not one freaking house.
Absolutely. And we have, as you mentioned, Adam Carolla had footage of like nothing being
Zero.
built.
Adam Carolla just posted a video. He's like, 7 months later, not one construction crew, zippo nada. And the only permits that have been issued were permits that were already filed pre-fire.
Yes, yeah.
Another thing that I noticed in the aftermath of his Sean Ryan interview, he changes his talking points according to whom he's talking
100%.
with. This is Pod Save America, so he went full lib on us.
100%.
But on Sean Ryan, he was like, "Oh, I love guns." Like,
he's a total actor. He has no moral core.
Exactly.
He has no values, no principles. You're so right. He only cares about himself. He only cares about doing favors to his donors. He screwed over fire victims, and I'm talking about the 2018 fires in Paradise, right? Totally screwed them over by doing favors for PG&E, structuring their bankruptcy in such a way that those fire victims did not get the settlements they deserved as a result of PG&E's failures to update their electrical equipment. The power lines falling as a result of a $10 hook breaking is what sparked that fire.
Killed 60 people.
Killed 60 people, destroyed an entire community. He's a bad guy. And like the thing that frustrates me about, I don't want to attack voters because we have this terrible political landscape and people are just trying to do the best with what they've got. But at the same time, if you happen to be a Democratic voter, I'm begging you to not fall for this snake oil salesman, because that's what Gavin Newsom is. Please take a look at what his leadership led to in the state of California.
Yeah. So someone tell me what he is saying he's going to do here. Because what is a special this, and I'm going to change the Constitution that, and then I'm going to redistrict everything. All I hear is, I'm going to cheat because Trump.
But that's the Cliff Notes version. That's actually totally on point. He mentions 4 machinations that he plans to use in order to circumvent Trump, or in his words, Trump-proof democracy. And I just want to say, before I go into the 4 different measures, he is basically saying the American people cannot be trusted to make the right decision. So I have to engage in these really slimy and subversive measures to undermine the will of the American people.
Okay, go through the 4
His first thing is a special election.
What does that mean?
A special session of the state legislature. He would just call them back and have them do a lightning round of Trump-proof measures that will circumvent his immigration enforcement and other, for example, the deployment of the National Guard. Basically, Trump-proof anything.
He lost that in court.
But he doesn't have that power.
He lost.
He is lying. He's just saying whatever. As I said before, he's just saying whatever he thinks his audience wants to hear.
Something to know about Gavin Newsom is he loves to make these big declarative statements and promises, knowing that he can't do it and isn't planning to do it, right? So one of the best examples I can give you is Gavin Newsom's initiative on care courts. So in California, we do have a really big problem with mentally ill people on our streets. Okay, first of all, it's insanely cruel to them. They need care, okay? They're not able to care for themselves. They're living and dying on the streets. And so this whole thing with Gavin Newsom's care court is, okay, instead of just letting them die on the streets, we're going to compel them to get mental health treatment at inpatient mental health facilities. Okay, but where are the mental health facilities, bro? Like, you have no plan to build them.
Nope.
You have no plan to fund them. Nope. It was just something to sound good, right? And get good headlines, and then that's it. Just drop it after that. That's what Gavin Newsom does. He says things with absolutely no intention of actually following through or implementing a damn thing.
That's absolutely right.
This example was really, how much money were they not able to account for that they were supposedly investing into fixing the homelessness situation?
$24 billion.
And what's the ROI? Like, are we able to see any practical improvement?
The ROI, it was a spike in homelessness in the state of California. That was the ROI.
And something else that I noticed is that he tried to be a moderate for about a month. I think it was April,
when
May.
he started his podcast?
Exactly. He started his podcast. He had Charlie Kirk on. He tried the moderate shtick. Realized that it didn't get him the donations that he wanted. And then he was like, wait a minute. Being an anti-Trump crusader actually gets me money. I want people to be aware that a lot of what politicians say on TV, on social media every day is to get the coffers, to get money rolling into the coffers, to get their fundraising machine revved up.
Yeah, 100%. He wants to position himself as the leader of the opposition to Trump, and it's only for electoral reasons. And look, I can understand that when it comes to someone's political aspirations. But when Trump is the president and there are situations in which you need federal aid, that puts the people of California at a uniquely terrible position. Because if you need, the federal government to come in and help us with a natural disaster, or come in and help us after we've had devastating fires, if you have this adversarial relationship with Trump, and it's all about politics all the time, as opposed to leadership on behalf of the people of California, well, the people of California end up suffering in the end.
Yeah.
The kids, okay, there's one with transgender athletes. So now, again, it's so annoying because none of this is settled law. It's all done through executive orders. It's like, oh, we're redefining Title IX one more time to make it biological males. California, you're in violation. We're not going to give you federal funds for athletes. But now the biological female athletes are all suffering because they're not getting federal funds. Like, everyone is caught in between this pissing match of Gavin and Trump. And I'm not saying it's one of their faults in particular, but
that's a really good
it's constant.
point.
I could give you a million other examples.
That's a really compelling point. And one thing that I do want to mention is that he doesn't care about what California people think anymore because he's not running for election and California is blue. He's going to win that state no matter what.
Why is he doing that then? This is another thing I didn't get. It's like because Trump. But Trump's not going to. Let's presume
it's a campaign tactic. He's already running for president.
He's posturing and preening for the 7 battleground states that matter. They're the only states that matter. California is already in the bag for him.
So this is just theatrics?
It's just theatrics.
So this is just safeguarding California against Trump.
We had a Sean Ryan clip because this is not the Gavin Newsom of like 2 days ago.
Oh no, the Gavin Newsom of 2 days ago loves guns and he thinks it's unfair.
Took responsibility for having dinner at the French Laundry during COVID when he told everyone else to stay home and don't get together with your family during the holidays. He lied though during that interview and said, you know, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have had dinner for my friend's birthday. It wasn't his friend's birthday. He met with donors at the French Laundry.
He lied not just there.
He's so slimy. He's so slimy.
Everything that came out of his mouth
Democratic
is a lie.
voters, please, please, please nominate someone better. He is a disaster of epic proportions.
I'm a conservative. You should vote for this guy because the conservative will ultimately win the general election.
No,
please find a better candidate for the Democrats.
You're hoping, but I don't know. He also said that it was a lie that California had a mass exodus and they've grown in their population with people that are. That's true. So I went to Grok and I said, Grok, tell me, more citizens moving in or more American citizens moving out? Grok, over the last 2 years, more U.S. citizens moved out of California than moved into the state. According to the U.S. Census Bureau data, between 2022 2023, approximately 700,000 people left California for other states, while about 422,000 moved in. So he basically just said, yeah, my population went up and they're all illegal.
But you shouldn't take anything he says at face value.
Insane.
He could just be lying, period, right? Like, I just don't trust anything that comes out of Gavin Newsom's mouth. You have to fact check everything.
And branching off of what Jillian just said, according to some studies, California would lose 2 to 3 congressional seats if you didn't take illegal aliens into.
You talked about this in your gerrymandering.
But he just confirmed it. He just right there was like, we're going to gerrymander. That's what we're going to do. We're going to find the best ways of doing it because Trump.
But they are
gerrymander what? California's blue. Like,
but then tell me why he's saying this.
He is falling. It's always about
branding.
It's all about branding.
He doesn't mean nationwide. It sounds to me like he's saying we're going to do this with the country. We're getting together and we're going to gerrymander the whole. Are you sure, Anna?
I mean, Lindy looked into it.
He means California.
He means the state,
which doesn't even
make sense.
It's just a good. It doesn't have to make sense because he's just lying and saying he's performing.
He's performing.
Acting.
His only strategy is
he literally says crooked in the top corner, which is so bizarre.
I know, because crooked media, and I'm like, perfect. Yes, crooked. Very.
One thing I also want to point out is that his fundraising receipts have skyrocketed since he took this virulently anti-Trump crusader role.
Yeah, he's number one.
He's making so much bank.
Candidate now.
The Democratic constituency is desperate for an opposition leader, right? And
this is the best they have.
It makes me depressed that Newsom has taken that mantle and it's working. And so I want you guys to understand that what Trump has been doing with immigration policy in places like LA, now Sacramento, California in general, is leading to backlash. Newsom sees it as an opportunity to position himself as the leader of the opposition. And in the end, we all get effed.
Yeah, that's why he's defending kids on weed farms because he's like,
God,
you can't kick them off the farms.
I cannot wrap my head around this one because at the end of the day, this is what you wanted. You wanted them to go after the employers. You wanted them to go after criminals. They served a criminal warrant to the Glass House weed farm for all kinds of violations with their workers, taking their wages. They employed 361 people who were undocumented. And you could be like, whatever, who cares? But they were screwing them over.
Of course,
taking
exploiting them.
Because they're illegal, which is the downside of illegal immigration. But on top of that, there were 14 kids there, of which I think 9 were unaccompanied, meaning no parental figure in the friggin' country, equaling trafficked. And
Suddenly we're going to support, if you're a Democrat, you're going to support child labor?
This is the whole,
on a weed farm?
Doing its best job right here.
And
this is what you want, is it not?
For those who didn't see Jillian's spot on Abby Phillips, I highly recommend watching her clip. You absolutely crushed it.
You couldn't lose. I knew I couldn't lose.
Look,
I was like, I can't lose. You're just wrong. You're employing trafficked kids at a weed farm. You lose. Don't even try.
This is the thing that frustrates me so much about the whole immigration debate, right? Because it is a nuanced issue, and it doesn't have to be black or white. You don't have to automatically take the opposite position of the Trump administration. Okay, what is the situation? What did the ICE raid entail? Who got arrested?
Right.
Who are the victims? Like, I'm sorry, I don't agree with going to workplaces like day laborers at Home Depot parking lots. I don't want to see those people rounded up.
I get it.
That shouldn't be the priority, and it grosses me out. What doesn't gross me out, though, is ICE coming in and, finding that there are literal children working at a weed farm being exploited. No, in that situation where they have a criminal warrant, they've done everything by law correctly, we should be supportive of that.
Everything you wanted. And Gavin takes to X and he's like, they're tear gassing children and they stole their moms. I'm like, actually, that kid has no mom because he was trafficked by the cartel. I don't know, guys.
Me either. That one's crazy.
It is mind-boggling, but at least I was put in a win-win on CNN because that never happens for somebody like me. And I'm like, you can't win this one, Abby. Like, I happen to like, she's very nice.
She is, yeah.
But I was like, you can't, and she still tried to win it. She still tried to tell me that despite the fact that the kids were undocumented, children as young as 12 can work in agriculture, but where they misled her is that not on a weed farm. There is no marijuana growing license that permits minors to work at their facility. So in fact, it is not legal, but it's like we got into semantics. It was bananas.
I mean, literally last year, CNN was going ham on Arkansas because they changed their state laws to allow for younger and younger children to work. When honestly, I totally disagree with it. But how do you, on one hand, attack Arkansas for their child labor, but then in this particular case on a weed farm, child labor is okay?
Because they just won't do anything to make Trump.
Everyone's so tribal. That's the problem. By the way, on the same show, I have seen people contort themselves to try to defend things Trump has done. And I personally won't do it because I think it compromises your integrity.
Yes, I agree.
Who's ever going to listen to you? I'm like, I don't know about that, and I can't defend it. However, anyway, I can't stand the guy. Anna can't either.
All of us. I think we're in agreement.
Thank you so much for watching Her Take. If you like the show, can you help us out by subscribing to the channel, clicking the notification button, sharing, commenting, joining the conversation? It helps us out a ton with the algorithm. We appreciate you.